Such a sad, tragic story. So emotional. You know, Chris, we've known each other a long time, been through a lot of wars, and to see you come out here on your crutches with your knee brace and wearing your sunglasses, fighting back your tears, well, I got to tell you, it's pathetic. Just like every other X Division wrestler in this company, you're pathetic. You come out here and you piss and moan and you whine about your injuries. Last year, it was your right leg. This year, your left. Jesse Sorensen's walking around with a broken neck. All you X Division wrestlers are the same. You risk it all each and every night, and at the end of the day, you get no reward. And speaking of taking risks, this Sunday night at Destination X, the poster child of your little X Division, Austin Aries, is going to risk it all when he relinquishes his X Division title and gets in this ring in the main event and wrestles the It Factor for my World Heavyweight Championship. And you see, at the end of the day, when X Division wrestler Austin Aries gets in the ring, when it's all said and done, Old A Double will be just like Chris Sabin, taking the risk, getting no reward, and having his career ended just like that. Or just like this. Oh, that hurt. Come on, Sabin. Get up and fall. Oh, you want to fight? Oh, yeah. Come on, get up. Fight like a man. That hurt. Does that hurt? Sabin, get up and fight like a man.
Damn you, Root. That's the way a World Heavyweight Champion acts. What the hell is wrong with him? Here comes Austin Aries. Fortunately for Sabin, Aries, the man who's going to face Bobby Roode this Sunday at Destination X for the world title. And you know what we're going to find out Sunday, Roode? We're going to find out if all the X Division wrestlers are the same. Aries gets his chance for the gold at Destination X.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon.
Sit down, shut up, and listen up.
The hard luck story of Chris Sabin continues. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. A great benefit to TNA, kind of getting more heat on Bobby Roode and also writing Chris Sabin off of television, as unfortunately he's going under the knife yet again. And several TNA stars and management accounts actually were tweeting yesterday wishing Chris Sabin the best in his surgery. He's having his left knee repaired that he injured recently. And, of course, as you heard in the clip there, Bobby Roode adding injury to insult by kicking at the left knee, or to quote the late, great Owen Hart, kicking his leg out from under his leg. Sabin, of course, tearing the ACL in his left knee, a similar injury to what kept him out from June of last year until March of this year. Only before it was his right knee, and it was both the ACL and MCLs, which, you know, whenever you get into those collateral ligaments in the knee, you're talking about major length of time being out. And this time it's his left knee. He only tore the ACL this time around, but preliminary reports have him out for at least the next 6 months. And this is, of course, after being out 9 months with the right knee injury. So it's, as I said, a little bit of a tough break for Chris Sabin. But it helps Bobby Roode. It certainly got a lot of heat on him, and that's something they've been looking for a while. They don't want him to just be one of those chicken you-know-what champions. So the fact that he's showing that little bit of aggression, not necessarily a bad thing going forward. And it's nice to have Chris Sabin kind of help out in that regard, knowing that he's going to be off TV for quite a while, and this time around there won't be a Motor City Machine Guns to go back to, as Alex Shelley is, of course, no longer with the company. So that option's kind of out. So we'll see down the road, early 2013, what lies in store for Chris Sabin. And whatever happens, I'll keep you posted here on WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Let's go ahead and get to the phones. We've got Steve from Bristol who's been hanging on patiently. Steve, welcome to the program.
How's it going, Brian?
Not too bad. What's on your mind?
I think it's 2 weeks back you were saying that WWE doesn't have any good mid-level wrestlers anymore.
Well, I was saying, I think, yeah. What you were referencing was I was kind of breaking down the, at the time, broken down roster, and that mainly was due to a lot of guys being on the shelf either with suspensions or injuries, and what was left, I was more noting that you don't really have a whole lot of main eventers. There were a slew of mid-card guys that can't seem to kind of break past that level, but I mean, no, I think there's a nice crop of mid-card guys that I'd like to see kind of step up to that next level. I mean, I mentioned Dolph Ziggler. He seems primed and ready for a world title push. Jack Swagger, he held the title for a cup of coffee, and then he kind of bumped his head on the glass ceiling and has been kind of mired in the mid-card ever since. Same thing with The Miz. I mean, Kofi Kingston, he's now in the tag ranks, but, I mean, he was in that push for a little while. Cody Rhodes, I mean, you've been listening for a while. I mean, I've made it no secret. I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan and follower. So, I mean, he's somebody I'd like to see kind of step up.
It almost makes you go back a couple years back, and they had, like, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and Charlie Haas. Those guys seemed like they were all on the brink, and then once they either became tag team champs or U.S. champs, that was it. That was as far as they were going to get.
Well, I think a little bit of it in that case, and I don't know if it necessarily translates over to now, is, I mean, those guys weren't really that great on the mic. I mean, Shelton Benjamin was tremendous in the ring. Charlie Haas, very skilled, very talented in the ring. But as far as on the microphone, which is a huge deal, that was something that Vince, I guess, kind of strongly held against them.
And MVP, I guess, wasn't a team guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's doing his thing over in Japan, and he's happy doing that. I mean, he's survived the tsunami over there, and I think some earthquakes as well. So, I mean, hey, some high pressure, to say the least.
I also liked what you did last week with Chris Benoit, but I got a question for you.
Yes.
Before Chris Benoit had that tragedy, wasn't he promoting a protege of his as a tag team partner? And once Chris was killed, or once Chris was out of the picture, did they just fire that guy?
I'm trying to think back, because, I mean, at that point, it was after, like, Chris's world title run, and I think he was poised to go for the was it the Intercontinental? I'm trying to think back now.
But he had a young guy as a tag team partner every now and then, and the King was saying, this is his protege, this is the guy he's grooming. And I forget his name.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that, and I'll certainly get an answer for you next week, or I'll put something up on the Facebook fan page.
But you know what sold me on Chris Benoit, though? This was way back in the day. I said, this guy's for real. I was lucky enough to be there the day that Paul Heyman brought him in the ECW to take on Taz in his prime. And I never saw anybody throw Taz around or out-wrestle Taz until that day.
Or at least even at that point, keep up with Taz.
And I said to myself, this guy is for real. Because the only thing Paul Heyman did with the introduction, he says, Taz, I got somebody from the dungeon for you. He didn't even, give him his props.
Today, my journey to help save people money on car insurance has got me reflecting a bit. You know, about all the places I've been so far, all the nice folks I've met, and all the money.
Hang on, Steve, I got interrupted by the gecko.
For every time I save somebody money on car insurance, I could retire tomorrow. But then, I'd have to stop my journey across America. I'd never get to visit Collinsville, Illinois, and see the world's largest bottle of...
Oh, I think we lost Steve. Let's,
hang on a second. What's your name?
Oh, having a few technical issues here. All right, you want to go to another line here, Bill? All right, who we got? You're pulling up line 3. Is that Ed? All right.
Yeah.
A little bit of technical difficulties there. Ed, welcome to the program.
Who let that gecko in?
I don't know. He pops up wherever.
Anyway, there's MMA this Friday at Columbus Boulevard at the Oh, I can't see that. It's really too small. Sheet Metals Uni Hall.
Okie dokie.
And there's an NWA DAWG All-American Bash in Franklin Skating Center in New Jersey, Franklinville Skating Center.
Alrighty, when's that going down?
The 14th.
Ah, okay, it's going to be next Saturday. There we go. Can make it a whole day of things. Tune in here and then go over to check out the Nasty Boys, and then head on over to the skating rink to check out that show.
And I think his name was Gunnar Scott, the guy that was calling up before.
I'll have to look into that. Like I said,
I'm pretty sure, but I'm not.
Gunnar, I'll have to. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of research. Try to get that in perhaps during the second time out here. Although we'll see how that goes. And
we're working on a show for Kamala.
Yes, that's right. I know Kamala's undergone some health issues as of late. I think he had at least one foot amputated from diabetes, and I know he's got some hospital bills piling up. So I know Wrestler Rescue, that's the organization that Dawn Marie, the former valet, has put together to try to help wrestlers in need. And it looks like she's been putting out some pleas to help out Kamala because of his issues.
And we got one more. An American Legion in Warrington, New Jersey. Red, white, and blue from the DWU. D2W, I meant.
Alrighty, that's good to know as well. Thanks so much for the call, Ed. I got to run here. Let's take care of one more before we get to some business. Let's get one more call in here. Let's get to Joe, who's been hanging on. Joe, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Yes, sir. I enjoy your program very much, and I go back in the days when it was WWWF.
The Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Yes, sir. Bruno Sammartino, Bobo Brazil, Argentino Apollo, and stuff like that. Dominic DeNucci. So you know what I'm talking about. What I'd like to know, and I'll be very brief, whatever happened to the Iceman, Dean Malenko? I know he retired, but what's he doing? Does he make any appearances, sir?
Well, actually, he did appear at, it was either last year or the year before's Sinomania, the folks over at George's Cards and Collectibles. But the last few years, he's been a road agent with the WWE. So he's been behind the scenes. He's been doing his thing there. And
I just feel he was one of the most underrated wrestlers and a great wrestler. Okay, they said he was nasty, but when he got in there, he wrestled, and he knew the holds, and it was like the old days of Sammartino and stuff like that, without all the show and the gimmicks, you know. Okay, maybe the wrestlers of yesterday weren't as strong as today because a lot of these guys lift weights, and certainly, thank God, not many. I know you can't stop it, but not many are doing the steroids like there used to be, and Bruno was an advocate against that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the truth, because I remember him appearing on a show years ago, and he walked off with Mr. McMahon. And, Dean Malenko was the epitome of a wrestler who was in shape, but not necessarily muscle-bound or muscular, but he knew the holds. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I remember distinctly, one of my favorite feuds going back to when he was in WCW. I mean, first of all, he was great in ECW. You had the Shooter, Dean Malenko. I mean, that whole gimmick with his short-lived time in there worked out well. But when he went over to WCW and was feuding with Jericho, you had the Man of 1,000 Holds and Jericho claiming to be the Man of 1,004 Holds. And that infamous segment where he had a list of all 1,004 holds and was reading them into a couple of commercial breaks, including more than a few arm bars mentioned in there. That was one of my favorite feuds, and
he was just a technical wrestler, you know.
Yeah.
And you can say anything you want about Kurt Angle, how nasty people think he is, but the man was an Olympic champion. He actually did win the Olympic belt with a broken neck, and we should be proud that he's from Pennsylvania. Regardless of what act he is putting on, the bad guy, the good role, whatever, he's a technical wrestler, and he was a regular Greco-Roman wrestler. And I remember him telling me that he showed a lot of these wrestlers how not to get hurt, and doing the proper holds. And unfortunately, wrestlers still do get hurt. In spite of what the public thinks, they do get hurt. Am I right or wrong?
Nothing, especially with something like wrestling, is 100% injury proof. I mean, you even with a ton of training, I mean, anything can go wrong. Anything from slipping on some sweat on a rope, going to the top rope. I mean, a number of different things can certainly happen. I mean, a table that's that you think is going to break doesn't break, and I know that's led to muscle tears and things of that nature. So I mean, you're absolutely right that training is essential, but at the same time, even with all that training, Vince McMahon said anything can happen, and that's certainly the case. Anything can happen in wrestling, especially the unexpected.
And one more quick comment. They talk about WCW, how they took the risk, like the Sandman and stuff like that. Let's go back to WWE years ago with Shane McMahon, some of the tower dives that he did. And allegedly, he wasn't even a wrestler. And I remember thinking back to some of the matches I saw him in where he dove off 20 feet.
He certainly did, and I noticed in a couple of those there was a little bit of padding wherever it was he was diving on. But yeah, I mean, anything from his his ambulance match with Kane. I know he had some feuds with X-Pac over the I think it was the European Championship back in like '99. I mean, he had his share of feuds, to say the least. I mean, the street fight that he had with Vince McMahon, one of the WrestleManias. Back in the early 2000s, so he had himself involved in a few matches, and had more than his share of high dives and jumps from the top rope through a table and a litany of other things. Thanks so much for the call, Joe. We got to get rolling. I'm up against a break. We'll get to Ron on the other side. I still have my predictions certain to go wrong. We'll get to those on the other side. Some news and notes as well, including a couple of TNA releases. Wrestlers being released, that is, and a former WWE and TNA wrestler. Looks like he's back in the wrestling fold. We'll talk a little bit about that, and still want to get your take on some of the on a pole matches. And one of the ones that I know I mentioned briefly last week, and I actually thought I had right, but apparently I was stood corrected immediately after the show. Shane Douglas and Billy Kidman from July of 2000, the Viagra on a pole match. That's right, because at the time, Shane Douglas was dating Tori Wilson, and apparently there was a behind-the-scenes camera that showed that Shane couldn't, how can I put this delicately, perform when necessary, and that led to the creation of a Viagra on a pole match, which I don't know if that was sponsored necessarily or not, but it probably could have been. At that point, WCW was heading downhill fast, to say the least. Anyway, we'll take care of our second bit of business, come back, predictions certain to go wrong, news and notes, a whole bunch still to do, only about 20 minutes to do it in here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.